Good morning, guys. Great to be here in New Zealand and looking forward to an action-packed day of racing here at the ITM Auckland Super Sprint. And already Macaulay Jones, the 99 car, exploring the limits on the formation lap. Good morning to you.
Good morning. I think, yeah, with Brett Rudd there having a bit of an off, it was a bit strange this early in the day.
Get the nerves out of the system nice and early. Now, we've been watching out the window for the past couple of minutes. It rained very heavily on the way out to the circuit this morning, and just in the past 5 minutes, a definite dry line is forming out there. As we take a look at the grid, Paul Manuel and Matt Spratt on the front row for this one, Richard Moore and Peter Ward starting on the second row, Glenn Collinson and Brett Rudd in the 99 machine that we just saw spin off the circuit, Jaden Dodge and James Urquhart. Back to the tail end of the grid with Jeff Kernahan and Simon Archer. Jeff Kernahan having a timing issue with his car yesterday. They've rectified that overnight, but the big talking point was this guy yesterday having a crash during practice. They've repaired it, but it's still not perfect.
Yeah, I mean, the team did a great job to get the car back on track for qualifying in such a short turnaround. So we'll see if there's any effect with him in the race.
He won the Mini Endurance Championship they had over the winter time, a 3-round series. This is the first round of their 2016-17 summer series. The Porter Group V8 Utes taking to the grid right now. And some interesting parts of the circuit, still very wet in patches, but that turn 2, turn 3 chicane we talked about just before, they've dug away all that gravel now, which has made it very sharp, a big drop-off on the inside of that curb. Yeah,
that may play a big part in this. It might cut some tyres, but I think the track conditions as well, with being wet, the start looks like it's dry on the left side of the circuit, so you might see one side get a much better start than the right.
It's running the R-Spec Yokohama tyres on this, so it's an all-weather tyre. We look at Paul Manuel on the front row. Alongside him, Matt Spratt. We saw Manuel yesterday, even that car was so damaged, he still managed to put down a great lap in qualifying. So he gets set for a start here. It's still not in the best of shape. They're going to have to rebuild this car after this round, but it'll have to do for the next 12 laps as we're underway for the first race of the weekend. It's a good start from Matt Spratt, not so from Paul Manuel. He's going to drop back to perhaps third position by the time we get down to the sweeper. So not the greatest of start, although he was on the damper side as Ward is already side by side. This will be interesting.
Yeah, too wide through here isn't going to look too pretty, especially with the wet line.
Good job.
Good job to hold that off, yeah, and Manuel sort of yielding there a little bit.
That impressed you. You thought he was gone for all money. But he got it done. The Ward demolition entry up to second spot as Spratt leads us down the back straight for the first time. And just as we saw in qualifying, it's on from the get-go.
Yeah, it's going to get tighter down into here with the big passing opportunity for this braking zone. Especially with the conditions, it's hard to know. These guys are all going to be feeling it on this opening lap and pushing the limits as much as they can.
We're on board with Paul Manuel there for a split second, going through turn 5 and 60. Newest section of this Pukekohe Park Raceway that was extended a few seasons back, and there's some really damp patches still on the exit there of turn number 6.
Yeah, and that'll make it tough with braking. It's easy to get some locking there with that condition.
So everybody's settling down into this one. It's 12 laps around as the clouds disappear. It was a very, very wet start here. We weren't expecting rain at all here today, but it's so hard to predict here being such an isolated part of the world. It can be raining 10 minutes down the road and absolutely dry right now as we see him sweep through the final turn at the end of lap number 1.
Yeah, and it's amazing to see this track. It's drying very quickly. So I think with the higher winds around, it's playing a big part with that. So they've managed to get through the first lap pretty cleanly, and we'll see if they can continue that.
Heard some tyre squealing in the background, but didn't see a car go off, so they've survived down into the turn 2 and 3 chicane. And as we talk about the inside, it's a big drop off on the inside of the curb, but they're staying away from that for the time being as they hit the backside of the circuit. Check out a replay of the start, just a wetter side for Paul Manuel.
Yeah, like I said, the wetter side is definitely making it harder. There's a lot of wheel spin from a lot of the guys on that side, and just managed to catch him out a little bit.
Good start from Ward. He hung tough on the outside and got the pass done. This is the view from the man from pole, and plenty of wheel spin.
Yeah, definitely plenty of wheel spin with that. You had to be really careful with the throttle control there.
Could have been anticipating that anyway when he got to the starting point. There was Ward, just pushing him as far as he could to the right-hand side. In fact, he pushed the mirror in on car number 1.
Bit of panel rubs, pretty standard with the old Utes.
More replays happening back. So this is Manuel on the back straight, pulling down the inside of Peter Ward, and Ward giving him just enough space to get down the inside.
Oh, maybe not. It's in the grass there a little bit, which would be tricky in the wet.
Got out of it. Will reform for another pass here as through they come at the end of lap number 2. This is James Urquhart with 2 cars stacking up behind him. It's Brett Rudd, who we saw spin earlier today on the warm-up lap. Put putting maximum pressure on the Mitre 10 trade entry.
It'd be important for him to get a good run down the straight, just to try and get a pass down into the chicane at the back there, but running a little bit wide there for Rudd.
He got the curb on the inside too, and now it's ignited this battle. Wherever we look, it's on now, and here's version 2.0 of Paul Manuel and Peter Ward doing the same thing he did on the previous lap, but now he's awake up to it. He won't be able to do too much there.
Manuel definitely looks like he's got more pace than Ward at the moment, but just needs to find a way to get by him.
Plenty of tyre squealing on this second lap. Side by side they go again, so Ward making the champ work for it here.
He's going to try the outside here, which I'm not sure, but you might be able to get the switch back after the hairpin.
Heavy drop.
Needs to get really good drive out.
It's a heavy drop down there, isn't it, too?
Yeah, a lot of camber in the road.
Still sitting on the back of Ward as they come through to complete the third lap. Really cool part of the circuit here as he hits the curb on the inside, and even in these conditions,
he's managed to get through there very well. I think he'll be able to get down the inside here. Whether Ward stays to the outside, it'd be hard to know, but it's definitely side by side.
He had to work for it. That's probably the hardest position he's had to work for in quite some time. And now Ward squirms his way back to third.
Yeah, Manuel did a great job there to set up that pass on Ward, so we'll see if he can chase down Spratt as he runs a little bit wide.
That's that curb again. And there's Rudd, so he's got ahead and moves himself up now into fourth position. Replay back, this is the two Kernahans. And the 13 there of Elton Goonan. You've got to stay off these curbs in these conditions. Lots of pools of water in those sharp sawtooth curbs.
Yeah, that's exactly right there. And pretty much any painted line that gets wet is very slippery, and it tends to stay wet for quite a while.
And now Manuel is on the back of the 48 of Spratt, who started from the front row. Rudd down the inside now, so the Loscombe Pallets Yale Forklifts entry, car number 99, moves up another spot.
Rudd seems to have found pretty good form here in these conditions, which has been good. He's managed to move quite a bit forward and make some passing moves.
Got the nerves out the system after that formation lap spin, and did it the hard way too.
Around the outside, it's a good move.
And Richard Moore,
managing to hold that off into there, was quite well set up for him.
Made him earn it, that's for sure. He gets up in position now as we go back to the leaders. Spratt, the margin is less than a second.
Yeah, Manuel just did the fastest lap of the race by quite a significant amount.
Well, yesterday, the pole time was 1 minute 16.3. That was a 1:18.80 in drying conditions here at Pukekohe Park Raceway as the sun starts to come out here on this Saturday morning at the ITM Auckland Super Sprint. Just like that, we're halfway home.
Yeah, it goes quite fast, doesn't it, when it's so action-packed?
Now, Brett Rudd moves to the inside. Richard Moore had better speed out of the turn 4 corner. And now makes him go to the outside. We've seen plenty of cars try this over the years and end up going down the escape road.
Yeah, Richard Moore tried to get the move that got him the lap earlier. Didn't quite pay off for him, though.
Here's Manuel. He'll try to switch back here. He's on the outside. Watch him switch it back to the inside, but Spratt's awake up to this. Ooh. But he's got the run because Spratt got that curb. If he gets enough drive here.
Definitely not on the easiest side of the track. This will get tight.
He's going to do this. Oh. Pass of the day already.
That was a really great move. He had a lot of confidence there just to hold on, and you know, it was a good job that they both managed to get through there. So
Paul Manuel takes the lead after not getting the greatest start on the wetter side of the course. Pole position now, gets past Spratt, and I think he'll drive away here, but we've got to keep an eye on that left front because it's still not happy days. Yeah, it does look like it's working quite hard, especially at turn 1 here. There's a lot of load on that left front tyre. Tends to be the wearing corner of the car, so he's managed to get a little bit of a gap early, but you know, it'll all depend on tyre life. Great pass. And one of the faster points at Pukekohe Park. This is how he set him up. That was the exit of turn 6. And Spratt made him go to the outside here. But it was the exit for the KPH Transport entry. Left-hand side, gets up on the curb, breaks in the wheel spin. And that was the only invitation the Oryx entry needed. Moves up down the inside. They went side by side for the second last corner. Great racing. Very good racing. Definitely wasn't the easiest pass, but he's managed to pull it off really well. Oh. And that's Richard Moore going off. And that's down at turn number 4 around the GJ Gardner Homes section of the track. So let good work for him has come undone.
That's been a tough section of the track all weekend for the guys here. It's we've seen many offs, even in the car practice yesterday.
So the 2016 NZ Utes Sprint Series champion, of which we had 3 rounds this year, goes into the new championship in great form so far. Pole position yesterday comfortably, but not disappearing into the distance like we expected.
No, he has just set the fastest lap of the race, but not by a massive margin.
Here's Collinson down the inside of Urquhart. That's down to turn number 1. Set him up nicely. And the DNA panel paint entry, one of the best looking liveries out there, moves up another spot.
It's got a good move. It's always tough into turn 1 with the amount of bumps.
There's one big bump right in the middle of the corner. If you get that wrong, particularly in damp conditions, you are history.
Yeah, you'll definitely know about it then. And then it really destroys your run through the turn 2-3 area.
Lap 7 of 12, so it's Manuel out to nearly a full second ahead of Spratt, Ward, Rudd, Urquhart.
As Richard Moore goes to the outside here, he's looking to try and make up those moves after he made a bit of a mistake at turn 3.
Unique light flashing system on the 17 entry of Collinson. They released that livery in the lead up to the brand new series. The race supporter Porter Group and Ward Demolition, the NZV8 Ute Series. It's well and truly alive for the summer of 2016-17. Now Collinson's starting to disappear from Urquhart as we enter the last quarter of the race here.
With 2 wide through here, we'll see if these guys can do it.
Did it easily in the end, so Urquhart in the Mitre 10 entry, drops back. Now Richard Moore, after going off the track, starts to charge back through the field. This is good from Spratt. I thought Manuel might have got away here, but he's hanging tough there back in second.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he made a mistake on that last lap, but he's definitely a little bit slower than the previous laps he's been managing to do. To see if that damage is playing a part, that's possibly a key part.
Doesn't seem to be hurting him too much right now. Down to turn 5 and 6 we come again to the Oryx Castrol Edge entry of the former NZ Touring Car champion back in 2000. Still got Matt Spratt right behind him. Impressive drive. You've got Peter Ward, who we've seen in the Australian V8 Ute Series on many occasions. Did a fine job back there in 3rd spot as they're coming through to complete lap 8.
Yeah, these guys have got a lot of experience around here, and it's an iconic track for New Zealander being at Pukekohe here.
You just feel the history. I'll come back to the moment because this battle between the 22 of Spencer and Hanley well and truly on. It's the battle for 8th, 9th and 10th position.
He's trying to set up a pass here to maybe look down the inside of the hairpin. Or as he goes to the inside for a bit of a block.
Right down the middle. Make him go the long way around. And this brings the Elton Goonan car, who had the big slide out of the hairpin a few laps ago, get into this. Would you rather be the guy chasing in this situation?
Well, it's always a hard situation, but yeah, I mean, you've got someone to reference on in these tricky conditions, so he's definitely just trying to set up a pass at the moment, and you know, he looks to have a lot more pace than.
Look at Goonan.
Around the outside.
He's got the speed, but nowhere to go at the moment. It's the Placemakers entry. Car 27 of Hanley. Trying everything here in the closing stages.
I think Goonan looks to be kind of playing it safe, just trying to find where he wants to position the car on the track and see if anything unfolds in front of him.
They're some 20 seconds behind the leading group right now, and this tends to happen when you get into a battle. Meantime, Spratt is right on the back now of car number 1.
As Ward just set the fastest lap on the last lap, so he might play a part in this 3-car battle soon.
Collinson now with Moore. It looks good here. But Collinson down the middle of the road here. The DNA custom paints entry.
Yeah, Moore seems to be just trying to find a way by here. He's hounding the rear bumper of.
So through they come again. Lap 10 of 12, so closing stages and carnage free in the Porter Group NZV8 Utes, their first race of a brand new championship. We look out the back of Glenn Collinson's car, and now watch Richard Moore closing in.
It's not leaving him much of an opportunity to get by at this point, but with 2 laps to go, he's trying to hold him off as much as he can.
Everybody's staying off that curb on the inside. It's well done. I mean, you go off there, it's going to do damage to not only the course, but the inside of the rims on the right-hand side. We don't want to see that. No,
you definitely don't want to see a flat tyre, and especially with it being there, it can be quite tough to feel that until you get down to this big braking zone. As Moore looks to the outside again to see if he can possibly do a move here.
He's going to do it.
I think he's definitely going to do it.
Did it nicely. And slams the door firmly in his face.
Very good move there. He's obviously got a lot of confidence on the brakes there to be able to do something like that.
Set him up nicely on the exit of 5, and now moves up another position. They'll get him into 5th. Leaders coming through to complete lap number 10.
See what times Moore can do with a bit of clean track now. It might be interesting to see what times he can produce.
And now another fastest lap for Ward, 1:16.70. He's 6/10 quicker than the guys ahead.
He's not too far off the rear of Spratt. It might be able to get just behind him as this battle pack unfolds.
We've got the tail end of that now, so the Handley car, the Placemakers 27, has got ahead. Action back for 14 Utes. They've really turned it on here today in the first race.
And they've kept it quite clean, especially with the conditions. It's not always easy to do that with passing and with wet and dry lines.
A little bit of wind out there, not too much, not what we saw yesterday, but certainly the track drying out very, very quickly. The top 3 on your screen right now, exiting the turn 5, 6 and 7 regions, Pukekohe Park Raceway. What has Matt Spratt got for us, if anything? Because Manuel is driving well here after dropping back to 3rd. The initial stages, he got past Ward, took him in a couple of laps.
Yeah, he's definitely doing a great job here. It looks like his car's got a little bit of understeer, which is not helping him. And especially it hasn't gotten any better as the race fans on.
The team thrashed to get that car fixed yesterday morning. They need a couple of hours between practice and qualifying. And now he's just 1 lap from home here.
The gap, it looks like it's closing a little bit with 4/10 gap. It's going to be a bit of a worry to have to try and possibly block towards the end of the lap.
Across the curb, gets a run out of here. This will shut down one passing opportunity. The drive out of turn 6. Crucial now for him. He's got a good run out. Ward a bit closer to the back of Spratt's number 48 car.
Yeah, Ward's done a great job at the last half of this race. He's managed to get fastest lap after fastest lap just about. Doesn't look like that any of them are quite close enough to look down the inside.
It's Holden's 1, 2 and 3 here in the first race of the new season of the Porter Group V8 Utes in New Zealand, exiting turn 6.
Paul just needs to keep the car nice and straight at this point and just try and maintain that gap. Keeping quite smooth out of the hairpin there, managing to stay off all the wet curves.
I think that's going to be enough for him as he sweeps on through the final set of turns. The left-hander brings him uphill here in front of what's going to be a packed house here today at Pukekohe Park Raceway. And the man that won the championship last year kicks off a new season in style as Paul Manuel comes down the main straight and takes the win in the first race of the Porter Group NZ V8 Utes.
That was a great job by him to come back and make some really good moves to get to the front.
And those dramas we thought might show up during the race never eventuated in the end, so the team behind him did a fantastic job overnight to get that car, which was described as more like a banana after that incident yesterday.
It's never a good start to the weekend when your car looks like a banana.
Not the first session anyway. Manuel picking up the win. Spratt finishing 2nd here, less than 2/10. We went back to Ward in 3rd. Rudd was 4th, then Richard Moore, Glenn Collinson got to 6th, then Urquhart, Hanley, Goonan and Jeff Spencer completing the top 10 of this race. And carnage free, the 2 Kernahans finishing 11 and 12, back to Usher and Jaden Dodge, who didn't get a start here in race number 1.